Situation Report, Global Strategic Assessment, date, late February 2026. Subject, the tariff shock, alliance fractures, and escalating global crises. This intelligence brief synthesizes the latest data streams from February 17th to 21st, 2026. The current operating environment is defined by a massive domestic legal rebuke to U.S. trade policy, an approaching deadline for military action in the Middle East, and deepening fractures within European support for Ukraine. The following analysis breaks down the critical friction points reshaping the balance of global power. 1. The economic quake, U.S. tariff turmoil. The cornerstone of the current U.S. economic agenda has suffered a severe, but hotly contested, blow. Supreme Court rebukes Trump. In a landmark decision, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs, ruling against the administration's use of emergency economic powers to unilaterally impose the taxes. The 15% retaliation. Rather than back down, President Trump immediately announced a new 15% worldwide tariff, escalating from an initially threatened 10%, vowing to bypass the judicial roadblock and maintain his America First trade war effective immediately. Global fallout. The European Union is grappling with the whiplash of the court ruling and the subsequent executive retaliation. Meanwhile, Southeast Asian exporters are evaluating whether they can become net winners, and countries like Indonesia are moving to sign specific tariff exemption deals for key commodities. 2. The Middle East, the brink of regional war. Diplomacy is rapidly giving way to military posturing as the US and Israel escalate pressure on Iran and its proxies. US-Iran countdown. US officials warned that military strikes could target individual Iranian leaders if a diplomatic deal is not reached. In response, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian stated that his country will not bow its head to US pressure. Hezbollah's stance. Following deadly Israeli strikes in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley that killed at least 10 people, a Hezbollah official declared that resistance is the group's only remaining choice. Internal Iranian unrest. Despite external threats, Iranian university students staged their first anti-government protests since the deadly mass crackdowns of the previous month, highlighting severe domestic vulnerability. 3. The war in Europe, energy blackmail and deep strikes. The Ukraine conflict is increasingly defined by energy warfare and internal European divisions, threatening Kiev's lifelines. Deep strikes. Ukraine successfully struck a Russian ballistic missile production plant, the Votkinsk factory, located over 870 miles inside Russian territory, demonstrating an expanding reach for its asymmetrical drone campaign. The energy chokehold. European solidarity is fracturing over energy dependencies. Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico threatened to cut off emergency electricity supplies to Ukraine if Kiev does not restore oil flows. Concurrently, Hungary announced it will block a massive €90 billion EU loan to Ukraine until Russian oil shipments resume through the Druzhba pipeline. Calls for escalation. Amid the stalling of peace talks in Geneva, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson publicly urged allies to deploy non-combat troops to Ukraine to deter further Russian advances. 4. The Epstein contagion. The monarchy in crisis. The fallout from the unsealed Jeffrey Epstein files continues to cause historic institutional damage. Royal arrest. Former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, was arrested in the UK on suspicion of misconduct in public office, specifically relating to allegations of sharing confidential government trade information with Jeffrey Epstein. He was released under investigation after being detained by police. Legal battles. Ghislaine Maxwell is actively fighting the release of an additional 90,000 pages of Epstein-related documents, calling the disclosure law unconstitutional, as the scandal continues to implicate global elites and prompt high-profile resignations. 5. The technology frontline, sovereign AI and cyber threats. The intersection of artificial intelligence and national security is accelerating rapidly. Cyber weaponization. State-sponsored hacking continues to evolve. A suspected China Nexus threat group, UNC6201, has been exploiting a zero-day vulnerability in Dell systems since mid-2024. Furthermore, cybercriminals are actively abusing Google's Gemini AI to automate malware persistence and orchestrate crypto scams. AI market correction. A Google VP warned that LLM wrappers and AI aggregators face an existential threat as the AI market begins to consolidate, signaling a potential burst in the speculative AI bubble. The AI infrastructure race. Following massive investments from the Adani Group, OpenAI is reportedly advancing partnerships to secure vast AI data center capacity in India, reducing reliance on traditional US and Chinese tech hubs. By the numbers. 15%, the new global tariff rate announced by President Trump following his Supreme Court defeat. 90 billion euros, the EU loan to Ukraine, currently being blocked by Hungary over oil transit disputes. 4,400 plus, the number of court rulings declaring ICE detentions illegal amid the ongoing US immigration crackdown. 90,000 pages of Epstein-related documents Ghislaine Maxwell is fighting to keep sealed. Strategic forecast. As we move into late February 2026, the international order is being stress-tested by a volatile mix of trade wars, military ultimatums, and fracturing alliances. From the escalating energy blackmail in Central Europe to the historic clash between the US executive and judicial branches, the guardrails of global stability are buckling. We are witnessing a rapid transition into a highly transactional era, where economic leverage and kinetic force are frequently deployed side by side. Expect severe market volatility in the coming weeks as supply chains digest the new tariff reality and the Middle East braces for potential conflict.